Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name's Adriana. I'm a knitter living on the east coast of Canada, and today I have some spring knitting plans to share with you all. As usual, I have some plans from my previous season. The winter knitting plans they're coming into my spring knitting plans because I didn't get to them all. In the past when I've done these videos, I think I've broken it up into sections of like garments, accessories, maybe like kids items. This time though, I'm going to do it in order of like most likely to happen to least likely to happen. And the end ones are just more like inspiration. Like I'm like 99% sure I'm not gonna actually make them, but they're just patterns that I've really been liking the look of. And it's maybe not for right now, but it's something that's like in my mind for the future. How I determine the likeliness of a pattern coming into existence is, first of all, if I have the yarn for it already, and then also if I have the motivation for it. So I have a few that I have the yarn and the motivation for. I have one that I have the yarn for, but maybe not so much the motivation. And then a couple where I have the motivation, but not the yarn. So you see what I mean, right? Like most likely to happen is where I have the yarn and the motivation. And then it kind of, if one of those is missing, then it's like not as likely to happen. So starting with the thing that is the most likely to happen, I've actually already started it and I'm a good chunk of the way done. This is the start of I'm not sure what the pattern name is because when I started it, it was called the Chima skirt. And now when I look on Ravelry, it's called the Sylvia wrap skirt. It's a wrap skirt pattern by Eggyo Knit. And yeah, I'm about halfway done. So this is the one that is definitely, I'm hoping to finish it this spring. I'm about, halfway done. And I'm knitting this with Briggs & Little Sport held double in the color number 14 Sheep's Gray. So I'll put up a picture of what the skirt looks like finished. It's my first time knitting a skirt, and I said previously I'm not totally a skirt person, but I think I could be with this skirt. It's a really nice texture and I like the shape of it and that it's like the style of it. I like that it's a wrap skirt. So hoping to finish that in the spring. My next plan for my spring knits is going to be a tank top. And I'm trying to decide between two right now, and maybe you can help me. I'm trying to decide between camisole number 9 from My Favorite Things and the Sailor Swift top from Veronica Lindbergh. The difference that I'm seeing in these, well, okay, the Sailor Swift top design has stripes. I would do it with no stripes, just one solid color. So I feel like camisole number 9 and the Sailor Swift top look kind of similar. Like if you look at the Sailor Swift top without stripes, the difference I'm seeing is in the edges. So the edging on the camisole number 9 one is all, what is it? Double knitting? Okay, it doesn't say like specifically what the edging is in the pattern description, but I'm pretty sure it's double knitting. It looks very similar to my square neck camisole that I did last year. And I really like how clean that finished edge looks. The Sailor Swift top has an I-cord edge. So just the finishing is different. Other than that, they look just about the same. Maybe the camisole number 9 kind of comes in a little bit more, which I'm like, I want it to be bra friendly. So it's looking like the Sailor Swift top might be more bra friendly than the camisole number 9, but I have seen a lot of people make the camisole number 9 and say it's no problem. Yeah, I'm trying to decide between those two, and I have yarn for it. I had I don't know if it was a sweaters quantity, but I had enough for a Cumulus blouse. Cumulus shirt. I have one of the Petite Knit Cumulus patterns. I think I have one that is a short sleeve one, and I had enough of Knitting for Olive merino to make that pattern, plus a bit extra if I wanted to make the sleeves longer. So I have had this sitting in my stash for probably close to 2 years now, because I bought it with the intention to make the Cumulus, whatever one was the pattern that I bought. I've I've put it in my knitting plans a few times to make that top, and it's never happened. I think I just don't, I don't know if I'd wear it that much. And it doesn't look to be a super thrilling knit. Like, it's just a lot of stockinette with really thin yarn. So I finally decided to split it up and make something else with this yarn. Even though this project won't use all of the yarn that I had bought in this color and dye lot, I think it'll leave enough that I could do another project with it. Maybe not like a whole top or something, but I don't know, something else. There will be a decent amount. So yeah, the only thing now is that I looked at patterns and I got excited about these two, and I'm like, okay, now I just need to choose one. And then when I took the yarn out, I'm like, I don't know if this is my color. Like, I don't know if this is a good color for me. My intention with making this tank top is to wear underneath other knits, like to have underneath this, and so you can like see the high neck underneath. Now looking at this, I'm like, I feel like it looks good with this like brown color of the sweater, but I don't know if it looks good like with my skin tone or my hair. So now I'm like, do I maybe try to sell this? Because I think I have six balls of it, and then buy a different color that is more my color. So I don't know. What do you think? Is this a good color for me or no? I held it up with, I was looking at this yarn as well. I held it up with these yarns and I was like, oh, this looks really nice together, because I couldn't really decide what kind of color this was. And when I had it sitting beside these, I was like, oh, it looks really nice with these purples. So there's definitely some type of purpley undertone happening with this, which I don't know if that's great for my skin tone. So anyway, that is the plan for that. Let me know if you think I should get a different color, because the thing is, if I make it and then I feel like it doesn't look good on me, then I'm not going to wear it. And that's, even though I used the yarn up, I didn't really get anything out of it, right? So let me know what you think I should do about that. My next couple of plans are some sock patterns. I talked to my brother and my sister-in-law about making them socks this year, and they both of their birthdays are in late spring. So I was like, okay, this is the perfect time to start working on those socks for them. My sister-in-law likes my pair of ruffle socks. It's a pattern by Petite Knit, and I'm gonna make a pair for her. So I don't have the yarn for that yet. Well, kind of. I'm going to have like a fingering weight white yarn. I don't have that one yet. And then a silk mohair strand. And I have like a white silk mohair kind of left over from a previous project. So I do already have that yarn. I just need to get like a white sock yarn for that project. And then my brother, I think he just wants kind of like a 2x2 ribbed sock, like a really basic sock. I'm not really gonna be following a pattern. I think I would make it in a DK weight yarn just to make it extra thick and more durable. I don't have the yarn for that yet either, but I know I want to use probably a Briggs & Little, either Regal or Heritage yarn in their like bright orange color. So that, I don't have the yarn yet, but I know what yarn I want to use. So that is that plan. My next set of plans, I'm going to call I've been influenced by all these Baba knitting pattern dupe videos. And yeah, I have just really loved the look of some of the Baba sweaters and cardigans. And there's a lot of great videos on like TikTok or Instagram of people sharing patterns, knitting patterns that would give you similar results as a baba sweater or a cardigan. The first pattern that I feel like I have the motivation for, but I don't have the yarn for it, is it's gonna be in between the Lakes Pullover by Ozetta and the Back Yoke Sweater by Noriko Ichikawa. Both of these have, it looks like, I think for sure the Lakes Pullover is a saddle shoulder construction, top down, and then the Back Yoke Sweater, I'm just looking at how it's constructed. It's this, it looks like a saddle shoulder from the front, and then from the back, there's something going on in the back that I'll show you a picture of it, that it looks like it's maybe knit sideways across the back, which is really cool. So I'm still undecided on which one I like better. I think like in this moment right now, I kind of like the Back Yoke Sweater a bit more, just because it has that little bit of like different construction with the back. So I feel like to get that baba look, both of these sweaters, I feel like in their pattern photos and like the gauge and stuff, have that baba sweater look. And the yarn I would use to help me get that is definitely a Briggs & Little yarn, probably their Regal yarn. I feel like it's very rustic, and that's like the point of it. It'll be very structured and sturdy. It would really give it that Baba-esque look. My Baba inspired cardigan pattern picks are cardigan number 9 from My Favorite Things and the Zakuri cardigan, again from Noriko Ichikawa. Both of these again have that, like the gauge and the texture of the yarn are just right for getting that baba look. And I would use the same yarn again, a Briggs & Little Regal probably, to get that same look and the really like defined, structured look to the finished piece. Cardigan number 9, it looks like it's a saddle shoulder. And then the Zakuri cardigan, it looks to be like a raglan, it looks like. Let me see what it says in the description. Yeah, it looks like it's a raglan. Now, I have been liking the look and fit of drop shoulder pieces more than raglans recently, so that's making me lean more towards the cardigan number 9 for out of these two. Again, I feel like I have the motivation to knit this, but I don't have the yarn, so that's why it's like it's on my list, but like I don't know if I'll actually get to it. I had mentioned the Vivica cardigan in my in my winter knitting plans. And I did do a swatch for it. Here's my swatch. I made this with some unspun yarn that I found at the thrift store. I'm assuming it's wool. And I did do the swatch holding 2 strands together plus a Surrey silk strand to give it a bit more like strength. And just the color difference between the wool and the silk is very apparent. So I don't love that you can see these white lines all throughout. So I think like when I do finally knit with this unspun yarn, I'm just gonna knit with it by itself. And if it's like a little more difficult to knit with because it breaks easier, right, then that's fine. I'll just deal with it. But anyway, so I did swatch for the Vivica cardigan. And my goal was, this is a pattern by My Favorite Things. And yes, so my swatch, this was, it's in half fisherman's rib. And I think it looks really good. However, I chose this pattern because I wanted to replicate a store-bought cardigan that I already own. And the Vivica cardigan kind of was the best fit for like looking like the cardigan that I already have. But there's another cardigan that I think this yarn would work well for. And also I'm not getting gauge right now. I might try again with smaller needles and without that white Surrey silk strand. But there's another pattern that I like and that I think I have the motivation more to knit. Like the Vivica cardigan is really pretty. And if someone like gave it to me, I'd be like, wow, this is great. I'm gonna wear it a lot. But looking at this other cardigan, I'm like, that's the one I want to actually knit. And that is the Beatrix cardigan by Gregoria Fibers. I have seen this cardigan on a few different like pattern idea videos, and every time I see it, I'm like, that's such a beautiful cardigan. I love that it goes all the way up, like to sit like right at the bottom of your neck, versus the other one is like a V. And I think I just like the look of, right now, I like the look of like the cardigan going all the way up to the top. So I have no idea if this yarn would fit this pattern. I also like that the color of the Beatrix cardigan is pretty close to the color of this unspun yarn. So I can kind of visualize it a bit better. It says that you need an Aran weight yarn for this, and you're using 5mm needles. I don't know if it would work. I'll see in other people's projects if other people have used unspun yarn and like see how they look, but I thought I would just throw this pattern in this video because it is like, if I can get the yarn to work for this, I think I would prefer to use this yarn for the Beatrix cardigan instead of the Vivica cardigan. So I have some swatching to do before I decide. Those are all my for sure, and like if I get the right yarn or the right motivation, then it'll happen. These next patterns are more like patterns that if I had more time or if I had the yarn, I would be looking at these patterns more seriously in the next few months. But as of right now, they're just patterns to look at and maybe get inspired by. The first one is the I don't know if it's LV or ELV slippers. This is a pattern from the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I actually just finished knitting a pair for my mom's birthday, and I really loved knitting these and I love the look of them. I would love to make a pair for myself. So this is, I'm not planning to make a pair for myself in the spring, but like if randomly I had the yarn, and which I actually might, like if I look at my scraps, because it doesn't use that much yarn, plus it's 2 colors. So I might actually have the yarn for this. I would have to look closer at what I have. But yeah, this is a pattern that I think is really pretty. It was fun to knit. I would love to knit it again, just maybe not right now. The Umbria Summer Top is a pattern by Cookie the Knitter. I've never knit from this designer before. It's a really beautiful button-up t-shirt with a nice texture on it. This, I was thinking like for this yarn as well, that if I could squeeze that, like an Umbria Summer Top plus one of those tank tops out of the yarn that I have, like that might be a good idea. I don't think I have enough yarn to do both. And again, I'm not sold on having this. It's one thing to have this as a color, like as an underneath layer, but I don't know if I would want this color as a t-shirt for the summer. Anyway, Umbria Summer Top I think is really beautiful. If I had more time and the right yarn, I would add this to my spring knitting plans. The Ruth Pullover by Irene Lynn is a pattern that's been in my mind since it came out last September. And it's this beautiful long sleeve, kind of flowy shirt with like the gentlest V-neck. If this yarn would have worked for that pattern, I think I would have done that. Again though, now I'm thinking maybe because of the color, it's best not to. But it's such a pretty, like flowy, I love kind of loose flowy tops. Yeah, I love the kind of different textures happening as it gets longer, and I don't know if it gets wider, like it flares out a little bit as you knit. It's a really beautiful long sleeve top that's flowy. I think would be really nice for wearing in the spring. So another one that if I had the yarn, this would be on my to knit list this season. I have a friend who's having a baby in the spring, and I'm thinking about making something for her. I'm torn because for a baby and for like a non-knitter, you'd probably want to use like a superwash or acrylic yarn for anything you're making for them. And I just really love working with non-superwash wools mostly. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make her something or just like buy her something for her baby. But if I did knit something, I was looking at the Learn to Love Steeks blanket. It's a free pattern from Pearl Soho. It's a striped blanket, and I think you knit it in the round, so you're knitting the whole time, and then you steek it at the end so it becomes a blanket. I thought this would be a good introduction to steeking for me. Just something for me to, it's in my mind that if the right yarn comes up and the motivation lines up as well, this one could happen. And then my last pattern is one that I would make for my daughter, and it's the Mini Honey Vest by Wool and Beyond. I was looking at this yarn that I have. I've had it for a while and I want to use it. This one is Cascade Yarns Heritage, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And then this one is Malabrigo, super fine merino wool, and it's non-superwash. So I don't know if, I feel like these colors look really nice together, but should I be mixing a superwash with a non-superwash? The thing is, I could do a pair of socks with these for sure, but I don't have anyone right now that I think would like a pair of purple socks, and I don't want a pair of purple socks for myself. And then this is, I think it's just 50 grams. So it's kind of an awkward amount. So I thought maybe I could put it together in something like the Mini Honey Vest. The thing is though, I don't know, I don't think I have enough to make a Mini Honey Vest in my daughter's size. So I'll have to do some more math and like actually seriously considering, do I want to mix a superwash with a non-superwash in the same pattern? And then decide. Okay, that wraps up my spring 2025 knitting plans. I would say the ones that I'm most excited for are doing either the camisole number 9 or the Sailor Swift top, and then doing one, and I don't have the yarn yet for either of these, but one of those like Baba inspired pieces, either the Lakes pullover or the back yoke sweater or the cardigan number 9 or the Zakuri cardigan. Those are the ones that I'm most excited about right now, and that I'm really feeling the motivation that I want to work on these projects. So yeah, let me know what some of your spring knitting plans are for this year, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.